This is Cass.
And this is Toast. It's been a long time since we've released an episode, and we're sure you're ready to dive back into the ocean adventure, but we have a quick message for you before we start.
First of all, thank you, everyone who has been patiently waiting. Your investment in the story is really what has encouraged us to keep going with this project in the face of 2 very shitty years, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Secondly, Patreon was put on hold during our hiatus, but we do plan on starting it up again with some new goodies in October.
Woo! Look forward to it. Thirdly, the next 6 episodes were recorded before we actually declared our hiatus. And there have been some changes since then, and what that means for you is that you'll get to look forward to a reintroduction in episode 25.
So, with that bit of housekeeping out of the way, please enjoy the continuation of Arc 2. Previously, on Dandies in Danger.
Life on a ship is dangerous, and Liam gets this notion this was not the first accident. There's a knock at his door.
Ah, fuck.
Standing there is the second lieutenant, Sean Fitzgerald. I heard that you were inebriated when he was brought down. You have to understand, you are the only man on this ship who has any knowledge of putting together our men if they somehow fall apart. 10 bells ring. Ellen is standing by the furniture boats. I wanted to apologize. I was worried we were starting to get too friendly.
Daniel has a history with this guy. Is he handsome?
I rolled for handsome for you, and I got a 19.
Thanks for the boyfriend.
Today is the day they should be finding the ghost ship. There is fog on the water. Your line of vision starts to get worse. The winds get choppier. The waves get wilder. Off the bows! A light! And you see within the fog a yellow light, and the fog around you starts to become so thick you can hardly see but a couple feet in front of you. There is screaming, and there is panic, and someone is yelling, "How is he doing that?" Everything suddenly goes very quiet. The sun is bright. You are looking at your captain as he addresses you. Trade winds have been far better than predicted, and as a result we are pleased to inform that we will be arriving a day earlier than expected. So with that, I dismiss the rest of you back to your duties. Dismissed. Hi, my name is Haley, my pronouns are she, her, and I play the voice of Zachary Wilkos.
Hi, I'm Cass, pronouns she, her, and I'll be voicing Liam Bardsley.
Hi, I'm Chess, pronouns he, she, they, and I voice Daniel Pritchard.
Hi, my name is Toast, my pronouns are she, her, and I play the voice of Adrian Edwards.
Okay, so where you all just last left off was you had reappeared on top of the quarterdeck. It is the very start of when you first appeared on the ship, and you had just finished the captain give his speech.
Yeah.
I'll just start the scene by saying that all the men have been dispersed. The midshipman is calling out, "Faster, lads! These trades won't last forever!" And he is kind of shooing you, and the boatswain is circling around, making sure everybody's going up to their proper rigging. I'm going to start out with Liam again, and Zach is right next to him. "What just happened?" asked Zachary, looking around.
We're back where we started. Zach, can you make it up into the rigging?
Yeah. He turns back and he doesn't want anything to do with the boatswain, so he immediately shoots up that rigging.
Liam is gonna follow him up the rigging, and as they're going up, he's going to say, "The rope! Wait, the rope!"
What rope?
It's going... If this is the same as before, I have to check on the rope. Hang on.
Okay.
Can I check on the rope? Can I check on the rope?
You are definitely going to check on the rope.
Yes! Okay, cool. Cool. Have they started, passing it down to me, or can I climb up to it?
You can kind of climb up to meet it, and I'm going to say Liam's so gun-ho, he, cuts in front of someone who's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll let you do that." Not that I'm in any particular fucking hurry.
Damn work.
Yeah. They're just like, "That Bardsley fellow."
Excellent. Is this going to be Naughty Knowledge?
It is, yeah.
I just love that name, by the way. So,
thank you.
I'm going to roll my D8. This is going to be tricky. Oh, Oh, not so tricky. I got a 7 plus 1, so that's an 8.
An 8. Fantastic. You know that the rope in front of you that is tying one corner of the sail is quite old. It looks like it's been overhandled. Maybe it's been on one too many voyages, passed through too many hands, and is fraying in certain places. The resin that had held it together is actually crumbling around it.
Okay, so it doesn't look intentional.
It doesn't look intentional.
Okay, excellent. Oi, 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 we got a bad rope up here.
What? Says someone looking down at him.
It's about to snap, this one.
What? And the person above you, Ringer, holds out his hand for you to pass the section of rope that you're looking at back up to him.
I do so.
He looks it over and he goes, "I'll be damned. Good job, Bardsley. That could have caused a real accident."
Liam's eye twitches a little bit where the welt was, and he's like, yeah, well, just trying to stay vigilant, you know? We're about to head into who knows what.
"Right, hold on to these. I'll be back," he says, and he passes him back the rope and he says, "Don't pull him taut, none, yeah?"
Right.
He starts heading back down to fetch more rope. We're gonna hop over to Adrian as the lieutenant comes back over to him just after the captain goes ahead and excuses everybody, and as all the riggers go back and they start working on the ship again, second lieutenant comes over to Adrian and says, "Back to where you were, Dr. Edwards, lest you want to muck about the ship, but there's not much to be entertained by on the quarterdeck, I'm afraid." Gives you sort of a dry smile.
Is this Fitzgerald or somebody else?
This is Fitzgerald.
Okay.
Is he handsome?
He's not talking to you.
Yeah.
Down.
Can we roll for handsome?
No.
You can. For this one, yes, he's handsome. He's not talking to either of you. Down.
Anyway, Adrian is just like, yep, that's right. I'm going down back to my rooms. Here I go. Goodbye. I mean,
And
have a
he's
nice
a
day.
what?
I'm a doctor, by the way.
Yes.
He gives you a swift nod, but an odd look, and turns to talk to the other lieutenant and the captain.
Yeah.
You are, of course, headed back down,
Yep.
passing Daniel.
Yep. I mean, Adrian, barely looks at him. He's just kind of tunnel vision going straight to the surgeon's quarters.
Daniel gives him a look, but is not intercepted, and he kind of looks away and is questioning and definitely formulating in his thoughts, like, this is definitely a repeat of something and we're supposed to do things differently, but he hasn't been able to communicate that to anyone yet.
Alan gives a brief sigh next to him.
He says, "Chin up."
"Pardon? Chin up yourself," he says, and he looks straight ahead.
What the fuck?
Liam, you are still in the rigging. You are holding the frayed rope. Our friend Rigger has gone down and he collects different rope. He comes back up and work starts being done to make sure that that rope in your hand, of course, doesn't snap and doesn't result in a terrible injury.
How's Zachary doing?
Zachary has caught up to you, and Zachary is close to you, seeming like he's gonna do some kind of work, but doesn't actually know what to do. And he looks around and he goes, What are we supposed to be doing right now?"
Do I innately know anything? Can I give him an easy job?
You do. You know that for the most part, you're supposed to be holding that rope right now, and everybody else is supposed to be securing these sails.
Okay.
Because you are unfurling sails because you are catching the trade wind and going faster.
So I would know how to open the sails.
You do know how to open the sails. Many of the sails are already being opened from the top down. There are people already on it, it seems. You don't really know where Zachary belongs, though.
Okay.
Like, you don't know his specific job.
If literally all I'm doing is holding the rope, how heavy is it? Can I give Zachary the rope to hold while I go help with the sails so that he has something to do?
It is not impossibly heavy, no. It's it's got
Teeny weeny arms. Can they take it?
It's got weight to it. It is heavy. It is not impossibly heavy. It is not like the cords on the Orlop deck at all.
Okay.
It is regular rope.
Then I'm gonna pass that off to Zach so that he has something to do. And as I'm passing it off to him, let's see, I'm probably gonna say, we should try to meet up with Adrian during the dinner hour.
He nods quickly.
Right. Now, if you ever get lost, just sort of scramble over towards where I am and look busy.
He nods again. This seems like a very good plan, as he has no other plan.
Excellent.
It seems that he still also doesn't have any knowledge of what his job is or anything about being on the ship.
Why
Okay.
does Zach not have that knowledge?
Well, that's
Why
why we
indeed?
have to find out.
So going back down into the upper gun deck of the ship where Adrian is. Adrian, you've just gotten into your office and quarters again. Mm-hmm. And you hear a timid knock. And you hear, "Dr. Edwards? Sir?"
It's Charlie.
He's Charlie. Can he see into the room? It's
Yeah.
kind of open, right? Okay.
Yeah.
would Adrian have had time to get a drink from the cupboards?
Why is he drinking? No. He knows tomorrow some man is gonna fall from the mast.
He's irresponsible, and he wasn't going to have as much. But anyway, he just looks irritated to himself alone, and he turns around and opens the door. Hello? Yes, what?
Sorry, sir. I know the captain said not to burden you with any work, and that.
Oh, it's you. All right, come in. Come. All right, come in and sit down.
He does. He immediately goes in and he sits down and he's cradling his injured hand.
You hurt the hand, right? You sliced it up.
Yes. How did you know that?
I'm a doctor. I can sense these things.
Right.
Or you know these things when you're a doctor, you know.
He doesn't question it in the slightest.
Nice.
And he just holds out his hand for you to fix it.
All right.
Which of course you do.
Yeah.
And
Adrian seems competent.
Sort of.
To Charlie.
To Charlie.
His opinion doesn't really matter, though.
Oh, that's so cute.
Just be careful with that, all right? Stop slicing your hands up.
Yes, of course, he says. I'm so sorry. I never meant to trouble you none.
Adrian is in a bad mood, but he's still like, shit, this little kid is cute, I guess. He's like, it's fine. It's fine. Just don't injure yourself. You're important.
Does he say that? Oh.
He looks at him and he shoots his eyebrows up and he goes, me?
Well, presumably. Everyone has a purpose, don't they? Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm only a doctor. But don't injure yourself, all right?
Oh, yes. Yes, of course. Thank you, doctor.
Sure.
You can count on me, he says, and he gets up excited, and he puffs his chest out like he's a man, and he leaves.
Oh. Bless. Adrian gets a drink right after that.
Now is he, what vintage are we talking here?
What do you mean?
He's drinking the laudanum from his cat.
Yeah. And that's what, no. I wanted to know if it was the laudanum or if he was going for something slightly less intense.
I mean, I think it's all intense. He's just not having as much. He's just having a drink of drugs, just enough to give him a buzz, except I guess his body's still kind of not used to laudanum, so he might have slightly more than he intended, but nothing nearly as much as the first time around.
How many swigs would you say he's had?
I'm not sure how powerful laudanum actually is. 2?
I mean, we're just playing a game, so I'm just getting the stats of your disadvantage.
Let's just say 2 swigs. 2 healthy
It's opium
swigs.
and alcohol.
Shame.
He's stressed.
Yeah.
He's very stressed out.
Real quick, I'm just gonna go back to Daniel, because I wanted to see if he had any plans this time for going down and meeting Adrian, or is he just gonna stay with his unit?
I think he's just going to stay with his unit.
Oh, because Alan's there.
Because, no. Well, I mean, that's a contributing factor, but it's not the contributing factor. I don't think it occurs to him that there's anything to discuss at the moment. Because, like, when they first came here, they were like, what? But now they kind of know what's going on. And so he is just kind of assuming in his head that he wants to talk to them when they all have free time, which is probably at dinner.
All right, that's fair.
So he's just going to stay.
We're just gonna go ahead and move ahead to that evening. 8 bells rings out, signaling that it's dinner. Charlie is going to go up and run dinner up to Adrian, while Zachary and Liam and Daniel all go down to the middle deck galley to grab their food. I just want to ask Adrian if he intends to leave his office at all, if he intends to join them. What are his thoughts?
He really doesn't want to. Doesn't want to leave his room. I'm going to say on the second time around, he's not going to leave his room. He's still going to just wait in his surgeon's quarters because he is stressed out.
He hasn't really left those, has he?
Nope.
He stayed there pretty much the entire last cycle.
He finds his corner and he's just like, and here I stay.
Yep.
I think Daniel's going to go visit him real quick.
Okay, so are you grabbing your food or
Yeah.
his food and going up and visiting him?
Yeah, Daniel's grabbing Adrian's food.
Okay. Zachary actually says to the two of them that it actually might be a good idea for all of us to go up there.
Right.
Let's go.
So Charlie sees Liam, who's probably the one grabbing the food, and says, "Oh, this is for Dr. Edwards."
Oh, thank you, Charlie. I can take it up to him.
You, sir? Are you sure, sir?
Absolutely. Don't worry about it. I'm sure you've got enough on your hands.
Oh, well, he looks to his cut hand and he thinks about it a moment and goes, I've got a bit on my hands, yeah.
And mind you take care there. Watch the wind.
Yeah, he says, and he goes back to the cook a little embarrassed. They all go up. Adrian, what are you doing when they have arrived?
God, what is he doing?
Are you still drinking?
No,
Are
he's
you...
not still drinking. He's probably just sitting in his corner.
Yeah, okay. That's totally fine. They come up to your office. Zachary gives, like, a knock before opening the door.
Daniel narrows his eyes at Adrian and he looks him up and down and he says, "You haven't drunken anything, have you?"
I have, in fact, but only a little. He stands up out of his little corner.
Still makes his head rush a little bit.
Yeah.
Does he sway?
The seas aren't particularly choppy, I would say that. He doesn't perhaps sway, but you know the initial stand up when the blood
Probably
rushes
just
from your head?
Closes his eyes for a second. He's like, it's fine. Hello. Here we all are again.
Daniel points at Adrian after shutting the door and he says, "Have no more than that. I swear to Christ himself."
You can't tell me what to do.
He turns to all of them, "Clearly, you all remember what happened last time, yes? I'm not the only one.
Zachary nods.
Absolutely.
Then, tomorrow," he points to Adrian, "you are going to have to be very doctorly."
Yeah, I know. I remember.
What happened last time, Adrian? We never heard.
Adrian just kind of stares into space.
Liam changes the subject and hands him his food and says, "Here, you'll need your strength. With luck, we can somehow prevent that from happening in the first place." Who was it? Did you know his name? The man who fell?
I don't want to talk about it.
No, Adrian, it's very important. I understand we don't have to talk about what happened, but we should talk about how we can stop it from happening this time. I don't want him to fall at all. It's a miracle he was still breathing whenever they... Well, we just have to find him.
Was he still breathing?
Yes.
You stitched him up, right?
I told you, I don't want to talk about it. I'm not talking about it.
Well, would you recognize his face if you were to say in the mess hall?
Yes, probably.
Then we could introduce ourselves.
And-
Find out
and
his name.
what?
We'll find out his name. Keep him from being in the wrong place at the wrong time. It was the wind, right? Zach, you were the one, and Daniel, you were up there too. The wind tore the sail, right?
I came up the stairs and his body went splat in front of me, so I'm not going to be of much help.
I was looking down. I didn't see until I heard something.
Does anyone remember what exact time it was that he fell?
Well, let's see. It was while there was still sunlight out, right? Mm-hmm. It was during the day, for sure. And then, Haley, can Liam remember which sail it was that split?
All you really know is that it was far from you.
Okay.
It was an action that happened far from you. There was like a loud crack of wind.
Okay.
And then somebody was injured. But you know that it was not close to you.
Okay. Well, if you fell down in front of Daniel, it must have been at least somewhat close to the stairs.
Yes, it was right in front of it.
We could check the sails aforetime.
Daniel was coming up next to the steering wheel, right?
Yeah,
Yes, then it was towards the back of the boat.
Right, then we at least have a clue.
I suppose.
Adrian, there was something I was wanting to ask you. Are all of the crew members listed anywhere in your journals?
Are they?
Yeah. He has records of everybody because everybody did a medical check when they came on board.
How many are there? Are we on there, Adrian?
I will go look. Goes and gets his books.
Your books are in your desk. They are leather bound, of course, and when you open them, you find the names and health records of everybody aboard the ship, including officers, but not including the hunters. So you have 72 people aboard this ship. Really not a lot.
There's 112.
And that's interesting, because all you can find is 72.
Yeah, that's what Liam was asking about.
Okay,
There's
well,
only 72, and you said the hunters weren't included?
The hunters are not, their names are included, their records are not.
they could be carrying the plague for all we know.
Do you have any death records, Adrian?
Do I?
Yeah,
Yeah?
you should.
Oh, well,
Explore your office, make a perception roll.
okay. I guess I'll do some gameplay. Ooh, I got a 19 plus my wisdom is 5, so 24.
That's perfect. You know exactly where they are and in
Yay.
which small bolted down cabinet. And those records already, you don't even have to go in and look because what you know is, no one's died. That's empty.
Great. Well, we have a real mystery on our hands, don't we?
So what do we know so far?
We know that a man with short, dark hair was giving me strange feelings, and we know that time is resetting.
And there was a strange little rope man down in the ropes.
Zachary looks at Daniel. Do you still...
Daniel feels his breast pocket and feels more parts of his uniform to see if he had the little sailor's knot on him still.
Yes. Wherever you tucked it away, you still have it.
What
He
the
pulls it out.
fuck?
He had felt it on his inner breast pocket, and then he slowly pulls it out while he's looking at it, showing it to the others.
Zachary puts his hand over it, and then sort of touches the strange rope doll. There's still magic in it.
Why do I still have it?
I don't know why you have it.
This might be like us. It isn't really controlled by the resets of time, since I still had it.
Do you know what it does yet?
No. Why would I know? Wait a minute. I was talking to another one of my privates, Alan, I think his name was. He starts blushing for no reason. And while I was talking to him,
Yes?
there was this bit of text that appeared above his right shoulder.
You mean like a piece of paper?
Like writing on the air. Glowing writing on the air.
Well, what did it say?
That does seem pertinent, yes.
I couldn't make it up.
Liam is probably pacing because he doesn't like staying still for this long, so he's probably like walking slowly back and forth around in the cabin while they're trying to figure this out. Okay, so what's our plan, lads? There's a few leads. There's this rope and whatever it says. Have you seen this man again the second time around, Daniel? Did he have any writing over his shoulder this time?
No, he had writing over his shoulder when he was trying to convey a secret, but he couldn't.
And when was that?
What was the secret?
Nothing. It doesn't matter.
It might.
No, it doesn't.
Daniel, we can't be keeping secrets from each other whenever we're in a situation like this.
Honestly, Daniel, don't be selfish.
I think he's never actually told Liam and Adrian about any of his male escapades.
No?
Escapades.
So they don't actually know that of his sexuality. So he blushes very, very deeply. Zach's heard of it. He lives with him. Mm-hmm. He blushes very deeply and he thinks about it and then he says, it doesn't matter. Anyway, it happened tomorrow.
Well, that's a sentence you don't hear every day, is it?
Happened late tomorrow.
So there's at least two people that we need to keep an eye on. There's the one who gave Zach a funny feeling, and the one that Daniel had some secret.
Speaking of which, you haven't seen that man, have you? The man with the short cut hair?
No, I haven't. But the first night, didn't he go down into the Orlup during dinner? Or at least down the stairs?
Yes, that would be now.
That would be now. Perhaps we should go.
I think we should. Adrian, are you coming?
Yes, I suppose I am. Nothing matters.
Great. So, jauntily, all four of you go.
Nihilistically, all four of you go.
You go to the stairs, and nobody is really attempting to stop you. You're also with the doctor, so nobody's really raising any eyebrows. You are going further down the decks of the ship, and you reach the Orlop, and it is empty. The cables are there. It is as you saw it around 12 bells when you guys had snuck out that first night.
Hello?
Seriously, Adrian?
Well,
What if he's dangerous?
if he's dangerous, everything will start over and it won't matter.
How do you know it will start over?
What if we die?
Then we die.
Adrian.
What?
You have to start taking better care of yourself than that.
Oh, don't start giving me that talk.
All right, well, let's go see if the little lad is there.
The little rope. The little rope
Yes,
lad.
I meant.
Yes.
Yes, I meant the sailor's knot. Maybe there's two of them.
Alright, so you guys go searching in the cords, but you find that there's nothing there. What you're looking for is already in Daniel's pocket.
Okay.
Can I do just a perception to see if we are truly alone?
Yes, but I will say that the Orlop deck is as bare as I drew it in front of you.
Okay.
And there's nothing to hide behind.
Okay. So even though I got a 19, the answer for the 19 is probably just going to be, we're really actually nobody here.
My flavor text is super empty unless you want to start making friends with ropes. Then you've got a lot of opportunities.
Are there any rats?
There's no rats up here, no.
Damn.
But that doesn't mean that there obviously isn't rats where the food would be, which is in the hold, one floor down.
We've never explored the hold.
That's true.
What if the boy, the little lad, went down to the hold? Because he goes downstairs. The first day Zachary saw him, he goes downstairs and then he didn't come back up.
That's a good point.
You didn't see him come back up.
Who's to say he didn't go all the way down? We don't know for sure if he stopped in the Orlip. Well, shall we go down? Daniel, you should perhaps go first. You are a Marine. You'd have the most reason.
Yes, he puffs out his chest and he straightens his hat and then he starts marching forward. And then he realizes that maybe there might be a dangerous man down there and then his chest deflates and he kind of like backs up a little bit and he's like, and he turns to the other guys and he's like, should I get my bayonet?
Maybe not.
Zachary gently pokes Daniel and goes, "Go down, please."
Right. He turns around and he looks into the darkness.
It is dark. Oh, for Pete's sake.
Perhaps maybe I should go first. I am a ship hand.
Yeah. Maybe Liam should go first. I'm escorting you
Either way, Zachary...
from the back.
Either way, Zachary goes, and he picks up a lantern, and he holds it out for either Liam or Daniel to grab.
Liam takes
Daniel
it.
does not grab it.
And then Zachary nervously looks down at the dark as well.
Well, Liam starts going down.
Yeah, Adrian just follows him.
Yep. You all file down into the hold.
Hello? Adrian says hello into the darkness.
No one answers you back.
All right.
I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna get some.
I will also roll.
Okay.
It's plus wisdom, right?
It is plus wisdom, yes.
Then I've got a 16.
You've got a 16?
Well,
That's great.
I got a nat 1, so...
I got an 8.
Oh, no.
It's that. See, shouldn't have taken a little sippy sip.
It's Daniel and his special eyes again.
All right. Adrian, you... It's dark.
Yeah.
You trip on the way down.
Liam, you can recognize that there's like food, you can recognize animal fodder, you can recognize the important stuff, which is water and alcohol, like drinking alcohol in huge, tight corked barrels. Nothing really else. Daniel, something is moving in and out of the shadows that are cast by the lantern.
He says. And he, like, is staring at it and pointing, and his hand is shaking, and he grabs Zach with his other hand, trying to find him, and he, like, and points.
I just rolled for Zachary. Zachary had an 18 in total, and Zachary looks to where Daniel is patting and pointing, and he sort of reaches out for the lantern from Liam, and he goes, "Can I borrow that a sec?"
Well, sure.
He takes it from Liam, and he holds it forward a little bit more, and he goes forward, and his eyebrows raise, and he goes, "Oh, rats, I thought so," he says. And, in fact, little fuzzy rat bodies poke in and out of animal feed.
Ooh, says Adrian. Adrian's excited.
Well, there are the
There's
rats.
your rats.
Aha! Adrian goes forward and kneels down to look at the rats.
The rats are slick and oily.
Ew!
Hello, you greasy boys.
They are hissing at you, and their coats don't seem very healthy. Some of them are patchy with a baldness.
Well, if they look like this and they're eating this food, doesn't seem like we have the best stock.
This is horrible. This could be a real problem.
Well, it is the animals' food, but I suppose if the animals are sickly.
We're eating the animals.
Yeah.
This doesn't look right. Why are they so greasy? Is there any spill?
Nothing has spilled. No, there is no spill. Like, there's no wetness anywhere.
Daniel's kind of looking around, too, for, like, what the fuck did they get in?
Do you want to check the rats any further?
I'll investigate them rats.
Please investigate them, rats.
Investigate the rats.
Love
They're
Adrian's
rats.
interest in these rats.
19 in total.
Very nice.
Nice.
Okay, you also notice little pustules along
no.
their tail
Is the plague.
and towards the thinner part. They're not black.
Okay.
They're just nasty. Like they're pussy. Like little abscesses that are boiling up on their tail. And their face holds these little pustules along the mouth too. And they are heaving with sort of a cough.
These little rats seem very unwell.
Don't get too close to them, Adrian.
Yes, they might bite you and spread the disease.
Zachary's eyes widen, and he grabs Adrian
Oh.
by the arm, and he, like, pulls him away. And he goes, "Everybody get away from those rats right now."
Do you know something about
Yes.
what then?
Daniel's definitely backed away and has, like, grabbed the others and is backing them away, too.
Do any of you know what a demon's nest is?
Why do you think we would know that? It sounds atrocious in any case.
God, no, that can't be. No, you're not serious.
I've never seen one like this before. A demon coming in, invading a space where human beings exist and occupy for long periods of time and feeding off of them. But it's doing it cyclically, as if we're stuck in some frozen part of these souls that are already dead, just replaying this over and over.
Other demons are feasting on us.
Why are we here?
Because we got pulled in. It was getting hungry. He looks at Adrian. It was getting hungry because it's devouring these souls now.
Is that why there's only 72 people?
They look at each other.
Liam looks agog.
If we can't find that man that we saw on our last cycle, what are we to assume?
That he got eaten?
Zachary gives a very grim and grave nod.
Oh, wonderful. I love this. I love this for us.
Zachary holds his head and he seems to be thinking pretty hard at the moment, like, oh, he's panicking.
Daniel gets a bit pale and has to sit down for a second, holding his heart.
Liam looks in between Zachary and Daniel, not sure who he should comfort more because they both seem to be in pretty dire straits.
He's got long arms, remember?
He does. He has with his freakishly long arms. Actually, you know what? Liam is going to take one hand and he's going to put one hand on Daniel's shoulder.
Daniel flinches.
Liam puts his other hand on Zachary's shoulder and says, If there is a way in, there's going to be a way out.
Not always.
Well, says Zachary, seeming as though he has an idea. Well, okay. How a demon's nest works is, well, it's pretty straightforward. Demons, as you know, are not physical creatures that can enter our world. They can only come in sort of spirity, he says, waving his hands.
Adrian's just like, he's unhappy and baffled about this. He's like, sorry, demons, as we know.
Well, I'm working for the church, I know, he says, pulling at his collar. I know that demons cannot enter this world with a physical form. Should they ever be able to enter this world in a physical form, it would mean the apocalypse. So,
Oh, wonderful.
it has trapped us on some spiritual plane. The only way a demon can maintain a spiritual plane like this, I imagine, is if it continuously feeds off of some kind of energy. He thinks about it. We have to disrupt that energy somehow, weaken it in some way, and we will be able to find our way home, most likely.
Wait a moment. Why do we have to do bloody anything? There's those chaps from your church are on this ship, on this boat. They're supposed to deal with these things.
What if they can't find us? Look, Adrian, that thing was in the hands of the church for a year, and they didn't find anything. Sometimes demons can lay dormant and sleep. They don't know. I don't know if they'll be able to find
their
them.
jobs because you're a bloody accountant and you looked at some rats and you knew what was going on and they can't figure out this bullshit.
No,
There
that's a
weren't
good
any
point.
rats on the ships that came back.
What if... No, there's hunters
ones
on this
here.
boat. The hunters here now.
We should go talk to them.
If we show them
We
the
should
rats...
Yes. We should talk to them and see if they are also affected by if they remember the cycles or if they don't.
We shouldn't mention the cycles, I think.
Zachary looks at him and gives a small nod. Perhaps. We want to be careful.
That lad Charlie didn't remember anything.
Well,
That's true.
well, if they don't, if they're not aware of the cycles, then it doesn't matter if we say what we say because we're just going to go through the cycles again.
Liam is going to put both hands on Daniel now. He's like, this is the one. He puts both hands on Daniel's shoulders and he makes steady eye contact.
Daniel was on the ground.
Yeah, he's kind of kneeling a little bit because you were sitting on something, right?
Daniel's sitting on like a box.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Liam kneels down and says, Daniel will show the hunters the rats. The rats are evidence.
Yes.
This is what chipped off Zachary. We're going to get
Yes.
out of this. We've gotten out of scrapes before,
Yes.
and
What scrapes?
Well, you
with
and your
the
ring.
watch. And the ring. Exactly. Yes.
Suppose, but that's nothing like this. Those were scrapes. This is more like a broken leg.
And it's a good thing you're a doctor, Adrian.
Ha ha ha.
Liam, as you're looking back and forth between these two and trying to calm and temper Daniel while also responding to Adrian, your eyes pass over something that doesn't look like it fits with everything else.
Ooh, what is it?
It's something that's a bit out of the lantern light. It's very small. Looks about something you can hold in your hand, but you're not 110% sure what it is yet.
Liam is actually going to say, well, now what's that? And so he's going to take a little...
Liam, you don't need to roll because it's out in the open.
Oh,
you can
okay.
go over to it if you want.
Yeah, I would love to. Let me go take a look at that. I'm going to stand up, check it out.
It does require you taking the lamp with you, which casts Daniel back in darkness.
He's going to do it, presumably because it's not that far away.
Great. He goes over and he sees a book. There's no title on it. It looks like a personal journal, and it's laying there with the leather sort of string that normally wraps around it, just completely off of it and untied.
The death note.
Daniel, you feel small bodies starting to hop over your feet.
Panics, and then he's suddenly very silent, and you hear a thump.
Oh dear.
Oh, Daniel. The light. Liam, the light.
Is Liam within reach to grab the book?
Liam is within reach to grab the book. Your friend has fainted in the darkness.
Yeah, he's gonna, grab the book and then spin around with the lantern.
Daniel's on the floor. He passed out, and these little rats are kind of, jumping over his body, and Zachary is small, but he is trying to, pull his friend away from the rats. They don't seem to be doing anything. What are you gonna do? You gonna help out? Adrian, you gonna help out?
Oh,
Yeah.
Liam for sure is gonna
Yeah.
come stomping over really loud, even though that might alert somebody that they're around there, but he's, gonna fucking terrify terrify these fucking rats, and he's gonna run over to scare them off. And once he gets over to Daniel, if nothing else happens, he's gonna try to lift him up.
Nothing else happens, but the rats don't seem to like the light.
He brings the light over, and he says, Back, all of you little foul beasts. Dirty,
Daniel?
Dirty little rats.
All right, calm down, Liam. Jesus.
Daniel, and he's gently slapping his face. Slap.
Oh,
Daniel.
I'm a doctor. Adrian
Look,
says.
come over here and help.
All right, here I come. He kneels down and he looks at Daniel's face. He's like, he seems to have passed out.
Yeah, he's clammy and very pale. Like, what happens with the esophageal syncope is your blood kind of doesn't circulate very well. It kind of pools, your heart slows, and so there's not a lot of blood in his brain right now. Mm-hmm. So Adrian probably knows the best thing to do when somebody faints is to kind of like help the blood get back to the brain, and like Daniel probably shouldn't be seated upward right now. He should probably be lying down.
Okay.
So the blood can follow gravity.
Well, we'll need to lie him down, but perhaps we should move away from the rats. Maybe we should hop upstairs or take him to my doctor's quarters, where I work as a doctor.
So, I'm going to say Liam and Zachary both help a passed out Daniel go up the stairs with Adrian taking the lead. Liam, you still have the book with you.
Okay, probably, I don't know. Those stairs and boats are so steep. Can Liam, with Zach's help, can he get Daniel's arms over his shoulder so that he's basically giving Daniel a piggyback ride?
Yeah, that's totally fine. So so a sailor is piggybacking a marine right now with one more sailor and the doctor with him. Yep. And you two, I assume, are going, everybody's agreed, you can't agree, you're passed out, that you're going to the surgeon's office?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. So you're all going back up, which means you go past the empty orlop and you go up the lower gun deck where maybe a few pigs glance at you.
Pigs? There's cops on this boat?
Good night, everybody. And you go up the middle gun deck, where people are kind of having their in-between mealtime and free time, and some people look over and go, Blimey, what happened to him? And Jimmy stands up and goes, Oh, some Marines, huh? And Alan, who's sitting at one of the tables, immediately turns around. It seems as though he might have been looking for Daniel at some point, but immediately turned around and has wide eyes looking at a passed out Daniel.
No worries, I'm a doctor.
What happened to him? Where have you been? This is a few more people. And
He fell down some stairs.
actually, one of the Marine officers comes over to you and looks at his passed out private and then looks at the two sailor hands and doesn't look at Adrian, but says to Zachary and Liam, Where have you been then?
We were helping we were helping Private Pritchard. He asked us for help investigating something down in the Orlop, but then he took a turn, and we had to get the doctor, and, well, I think he might be in a bad way. The doctor asked us for help. He asked us to get him back.
He needs to come straight to my quarters.
He looks at Adrian for a second, and you guys don't know this guy's name, actually, because the only one who would know it is Daniel. He's passed out.
Shit.
So he looks at Adrian a moment, and he looks like he's not going to argue with Adrian, but he looks back at the two of you and goes, Help investigate. Help investigate with what, exactly?
He thought he heard something.
Thought he heard something, and
Yes.
he wouldn't ask his fellow privates.
There was some skittering of rats down there. I imagine he didn't want his other Marine friends to sully their boots.
Strange that he wouldn't ask his own companions to go down there with him, and instead brings two ship hands.
They were probably handy, you know.
Adrian's sitting over here making puns instead of being like, hey, this is a timely matter. I'm a doctor. He's like, oh no, they're very handy.
He hates this pun so much.
Uh-oh.
He then just sort of closes his eyes for a moment, and then he looks at Adrian and he says, Right, patch him up then, I suppose.
I intend to.
Let him know that if he ever wants to go investigating again, he better clear it with one of us first.
Of course. Obviously.
Good. Glad we have a surgeon aboard this ship to knock some sense into someone, he says, and he turns and walks away.
Adrian feels very pleased with himself.
They go up the middle deck.
Why? He handled it horribly.
He did. But he got away with it.
Because he's the only surgeon, that's why. Fucking.
I'm surprised that neither of you used your skills for that, and I'm also a little proud of y'all. I was gonna do a contest roll, but then the pun happened, and I really didn't want to. So, okay, you go up, you lay Daniel down, and I imagine Daniel wakes back up.
Yeah, he'd wake up within about 2 to 3 minutes. he'd start coming to. He'd be blinking a bit, eyes kind of rolled back in his head, and still very pale and sweaty. And he kind of slowly comes to and sees that he's in the surgeon's office.
Within those 2 to 3 minutes, I want to know what Liam does, if anything, with this new item he's found.
Once he knows that Daniel is laying down and is, breathing properly and all that good stuff, he's gonna pull the notebook wherever he had stuffed that. So he pulls that back out and he says, this is what I saw before down there. And he's gonna show it to the other two and pause dramatically. And then he's gonna start unwrapping it to look at what's inside the journal.
Daniel can start waking up at this point, and Zachary is watching Liam, and he's watching the book very intensely. And Liam, you unravel this book, and it opens up to pages with harsh scribbling, almost completely, you can't make it out. It's very rushed writing, bunched up on lines, between lines. There are like 2 lines of writing wedged within the line of the paper. It looks like the scribblings of a madman, and a few times you can see the words, "At sea, where are we? Where? Coordinates."
Question. Is
Yep.
it the word coordinates or are they actual coordinates?
It's the word coordinates.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not helpful, but that's what it be.
This is almost poetry, Adrian says, looking over his shoulder.
Is there...
Is there a name in the book?
Yeah.
Yes. The name that you see is 3rd Lieutenant Matthew Pettiford.
Huh.
I don't know if you're showing this to Adrian.
Yeah, I'll pass it around, show and tell.
Okay.
Okay, it passes into Adrian's hands first, and Adrian, you remember that Matthew Pettiford is not on the records.
Okay. Well, this name isn't in the records, so I suppose we could presume he's been devoured.
This gives Zachary an unpleasant shiver. Ugh.
Daniel starts panicking again.
No, it's alright, it's alright. And that's at the front of the book. The front of the book is a little more sensical, but it's a bunch of nothing logs. It's, the weather was fair today and fine, and then you notice after 3 days that it starts again with, the weather is fair and fine, and it's yada yada, and then it'll start again, and these 3 pages start over again and again and again with the exact same log going from day 1, day 2, day 3, day 1, day 2, day 3, and these 3 just constantly repeat until they start getting smaller and more bunched. And the longer it goes on, it starts asking, when was the weather fair and fine? How long ago? How many times has it been fair and fine? Was it fair and fine when we left the dock? How many days ago did we leave the dock? And these questions start getting more and more scrunched up until they become the unrecognizable scribbles that you see. Daniel, as this book passes into your hands, you recognize these scribbles as scribbles you saw above Alan.
He blinks and is coming to, and he's staring at it. Oh my god.
What is it?
He turns the book around and he points at the paper and he says, I saw this above Alan's shoulder. This. What does that mean? He's not next, is he? He turns the book back around to look at it. What does it mean?
That somehow someone kept a log, says Zachary, taking it.
Well, now, just a moment. If this log has entries day after day, and then it shows the cycle repeating, then that means that it must have traveled through the cycles the same way as our little man did. The little man of rope.
Zachary gives a nod and says, there's magic in this as well. Neutral magic. Neither completely positive nor malicious.
Well, should we not take these things to the hunters that are on the boat?
Can hunters sense magic, Zachary?
He rolls his eyes and he takes a step back, but then realizes what he's done and he adjusts himself and he goes, no, men in the cloth don't.
What the hell use are they? I'm so confused.
For the most part, they do a lot of blessings, and what they do does work. They do go out and they do hunt the physical nightmarish creatures that you don't know about, and that's why your life stays so nice, he says, and he opens the book and he runs a hand through his hair and says, I'm sorry. He hands the book back out to Liam and he says, I don't want to hold this anymore. His heartbeat seems to be quickening.
Liam takes it back and says, well, I'll hold on to this then. I'll put our clues in it. Can I use your pen, Adrian?
Certainly.
I'm a ship hand. I suppose I don't need pens.
Adrian gives him a look. Here you go.
So, from that congregation, I just want to know, what is everybody's thoughts about what they should do next?
Well, Adrian wants to take this stuff to the hunters because even though he keeps hearing about them and gaining less faith in them, he doesn't know, they're the only other authority on this boat that would know what to do with this spooky stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Liam?
Liam is probably of a like mind that he would want to at least know what the hunters thought about the situation, but he's also beginning to wonder if there's more items like this around the boat.
Okay.
So he wants to do a little bit more investigating.
Okay. Daniel?
Daniel would not want to take those items to the hunters because the hunters might confiscate them and then leave our boys with 0 clues. So he wants to hang on to them.
All right.
He's also really scared for Alan, and he doesn't want Alan to be devoured.
As you are all quietly in your own thoughts debating on your next move, you hear the 9 bells. And that means for the ship hands, it is time for them to undo their hammocks and to immediately go to bed, as well as for the privates. And Zachary looks around and says, what do we do? Do we leave it till tomorrow?
We'll probably have to. What are we going to do sneaking around at night?
Who should...
Tomorrow we should be focused on preventing the accident that's to happen.
Oh, right, Adrian says. Yes.
Adrian, can you please promise me you will not be inebriated tomorrow?
It's fine.
Adrian, please.
It's not fine.
It is fine. Everything's fine.
Adrian!
He's, he wasn't planning to, but now that you guys have talked to him, he's just gonna be tight-lipped and moody about it. Now that you've pointed it out.
Liam is gonna step in and puts a hand on Adrian's shoulder and says, Adrian knows what to do.
Oh, his little heart goes a-flutter inside. Shit. He's been totally duped.
Then I suppose we'll just leave it to tomorrow, says Zachary.
Tomorrow, then.